switch locations real quick. I'll get my feet out of my shoes. But that is very interesting. So I just watched, now I'm sure she's not as thorough as she'd like to be because limited time and everything, but she went over Susan Carney. Oh, your job is so cool. As much as I don't like the government, that kind of shit, I'm like, it's fucking cool. She goes over ways to spot if someone's lying. And what I didn't know, and it was really good for me to know, is now this is hard because I'm interviewing myself, so it's not, my timing is going to be when the thing starts and I see it start. This is not good. It's probably important to ask me questions directly for exactly reasons like that. However, in the interview format for other people, you should be able to see this a lot more. Within the first 5 seconds that person is, if they're lying, then they'll give you either a non-verbal or a verbal tell. Okay. Of the question. Now, I should really think about it. She went over, so that's really interesting. Okay. She talked about how some people can talk and talk, but they're not actually staying on point. They're not actually answering the question. I have had so much ground to cover, from mermaids to drugs to school. I mean, on and on and on. States and places I haven't been, etc., etc. So there are a lot of times, and on top of that, I'm guessing. This is all nonsense and I'm guessing, and sometimes I'm off, right? Like, so I didn't know the tomahawk thing, for example, so now I'm talking about this. So that's confusing and analyzing this, but keep in mind because I'm in the dark. Okay. When someone is asked a question directly, knowing the information or knowing the question directly, and they're talking about all these other things, she talks about how it's trying to convince you. For example, she gives, there was a woman who killed her children, drowned them in the lake, and he asked, did you do it? And she says, I say, like, right now I just looked like, yeah, but I do that. I'm interacting with other things. It's a little confusing, but pointing in Nerf gun. And wearing camo. And she said, I would not hurt my kids. So when people are responding, are they saying I'm a good person? Are they qualifying that? I go to church. I swear on a stack of Bibles. I have a good reputation. Everybody trusts me. Are they answering questions like this, or are they answering questions? Now, if someone is not personally guilty, they're a lot more inclined to, in being cooperative, they're a lot more inclined to help you. Well, this bit of information added up, but this part didn't. And, I knew this about Tara, but in all fairness, I didn't know this. And, I did know that this person right here was being dishonest, and you might want to look into this, and maybe the organization is a little shady. Whatever. But they're going to be, if they're genuinely cooperating, they're going to be a lot more inclined to say things like this. Okay? This is exactly what I'm talking about. When people are coming up, especially my family, I'm like, well, how come they're not pointing out the things that they knew were wrong, the things that I've now proven? Because they're not on my side. That's what I'm saying. If they weren't lying, they wouldn't just ignore. Now, I have a feeling that Israel and Lauren just ignored a whole laundry list of 210 plus ways that I caught them lying and just cherry-picked to answer certain ones. Am I right? Right. Now, Israel, for example, is going to turtle. He would be more the type to answer without answering. Well, I don't really know. I'm not a psychologist, but... And he's going to kind of play dumb in order to make you feel that he's not a threat. For example, Dorota is very prone to smiling at maybe inappropriate times and saying things like, oh, she's just so nice, or whatever. Some compliment that makes you think, this is a nice person. This person's not out to get anybody because she just said she's nice. Or, maybe she's going through a hard time right now. And she's actually, it's funny because now this is confusing too. Because everybody is on a hard line to get me to stay, the whole goal of everybody is to get me to stay broke so that I can't get a lawyer and can't get to safety net and they are off scot-free. So they are going to be doing something that you wouldn't normally see, and that is emphasizing that this is how it must be. Now, an honest person too would have a strict reason for why you this person should go to jail and this and that. But because everybody's sort of on a mission with what they're saying, this is the script they're reading. Okay. What else did she say? She was saying about kind of giving, not readily denying things. Like, for example, the woman that killed her children. I wouldn't do that. I love my children, blah, blah, blah. But what did she not do? She didn't deny it. Now, there can be over-denial, too. I point again to Clinton. I did not have sexual relations with that woman. Now, I repeat, I did not. I got to get back to work. And it's dismissive. That woman, dismissive. I got to get back to work. It's not worth my time. If you're coming on camera, it's worth your time. So, know anyone that's saying it's not worth my time and then jumping on camera again, and then again, and then again. It is worth your time, or you wouldn't have gotten on camera in the first place. They're lying. It's right there. Okay. Now, playing bored is exceptionally unsympathetic. It's not realistic. If your friend had gone crazy, which is your testimony, just gone crazy, wouldn't you feel like a little bit of sympathy about that? But that's not what you see. Some of these girls are defensive. I said something they didn't like. Now, it's their testimony that I'm batshit crazy. So again, I ask, how can they be offended? And yet they're acting like we are equals intellectually. That, or they're ultimately dismissive. Oh, well, she's just so crazy. It's not even worth talking about. This person, just forget it. That's not realistic. If you had love for this person, or been a close friend, or whatever, however you want to quantify that, and they had gone crazy, I'd be like, well, this is really hard to watch. I mean, I feel for her because this and that, and that. I wouldn't be like, I'm bored. Right. Because that's really cold and distant and heartless. Yeah, and I certainly wouldn't be offended. Well, I can't believe that she said this and that, and that's just her way of this and that, and I mean, you don't even know her. You just seen her when da-da-da, and then they'll go off on some other story, right? May or may not be true. Right, and it's justified. That's another one, justifying sort of their action with other things. Like she gave, well, you don't know what some employee gets caught possibly stealing. Well, you don't even know what goes on the store, and you're always accusing me and this and that, and this is just because of what I look like or where I was born, or that you didn't like me when you hired me, or whatever the thing is. Right. I mean, maybe it's true. Maybe what they're saying is true, but it's not how you would normally answer. Okay. You could just simply say, like when I got accused of it, and I was like, all right, let's talk. And I did so very calmly. I went outside to smoke a couple cigarettes, but I did so very calmly. Was irritated, but was like, why don't you just say what you're trying to say? And I'm actually egging them on to say that I saw something because they weren't correctly saying it. That's not a sign of I did it. If I did it, it means that I would be evading. Yeah, I mean, I don't know what the problem is. You're not telling me what the problem is. So, okay, cool, la 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 la. But I'm like, say it, bitch. Like I'm like irritated. I'm like, oh really? Do you want me to explain? Do you have cameras? Because I can explain this. I know exactly who did it. And I'm getting irritated, but I'm calm. Okay? And actually, I was the one that ended up quitting. I was like, no, I'm already getting accused of something. It's in so many words without the words that I'm just going to walk because it's an impossible scenario. Okay? Why? Because I understood that this is an impossible scenario. My drawer could never be off again, 50 cents. I was like, what's going to be off again, 50 cents? Fuck it. For example. Now, she said, attacking the questioner. Right, and I kind of just said that too. You don't even know what goes on in the store, and this and that and this. Right. They haven't even, the questioner's just asking questions. There's no reason to flare up unless there's a reason to flare up. I know that I use comedy to deal with this, and it's sort of a result of having to defend myself all the time and just laughing at the whole situation and so fuck it. I don't actually think it's appropriate that so many people are using comedy. I wouldn't. if it were real and someone really was crazy, I would still have enough empathy to go, yeah, but that's someone's kid, no matter how shit the family is, how much they claim they don't care about her, she's terrible, X, Y, and Z. I still wouldn't be laughing, because it's disrespectful. Right. And the only way that they're justifying that is by admitting them an intellectual equal, by saying, well, she did it first. Yeah, but you said that was crazy. When they're doing this, they're competing, they're going toe-to-toe. They don't think I'm crazy. That's why they're saying this. What else did she say? Damn, I should have written this down. She did quickly, very quickly go over nonverbal. Maybe I'll find a better video for you on nonverbal, but I hate to go into the pop psychology world because then you're going to go off on one thing. Now, she did say look for clusters. Someone looks down or, maybe, that was it. Saying things like, honestly, truly. Now, you can say that. And she said, there's always a certain amount permitted because there's certain sayings with things, but if they keep doing it, you gotta kind of wonder. I did notice this. One time I got in an argument with someone and she just kept saying, honestly, Abe. Abe is the perfect example. It is so obvious who is lying during our breakup. It is so obvious. When I'm asking him about the cult, look at how he writes. Now, the CIA would readily, I can do it, the CIA would readily be able to point out, when I'm talking, I'm showing empathy, I'm showing cooperation, I'm trying to understand while still voicing my opinion. I'm not being overly defensive, I'm being understanding to the degree that I can. He's not. He's deflecting onto me. If you trusted me, this is called attacking the questioner. The problem is that you don't trust me, and he repeats it over and over and over. I had been honest, trust. The problem isn't that I'm not honest, it's that you don't trust. It's so fucking obvious, man. And he's patting himself on the back for things that's sort of unnecessary to do. And then I did this, and then I gave you the trust by going there, and this, and he's patting his back for the littlest things. Why? Because it's trying to convince me that he's a good person. So you look at his stuff and it's a lot more trying to convince. Mine is a lot more trying to get to the truth of what's going on. I can put that below and it's almost laughable. Come on, CIA, come on, have a chuckle with me. It is laughable that something didn't happen at this cult party. Oh, I'm sure he cheated or something. I don't know it, but I would wager to say that he cheated on me with that chick. I would wager it. I don't know it. Or at least he was guilty of something. Could have been something else. Maybe that he knew our time was up, that he was leaving, something they told him to plug the... Maybe they had a laugh in my name. Maybe they watched a porn. I don't know. But something, okay? So, these things are all over the place. And she did point to some nonverbal. My time is kind of nearing the max of this tape, so I'll make that. But and this is a little hard to do with me because normally you only sit here and that's not very helpful. And also, I am the interviewer, so now things are a little skewed. It's kind of irritating why you should just... I would happily comply with the CIA if you'd like for me to take... I said this from the beginning, a lie detector test. I think everyone should do it. I think it would be fairly amusing. Or if you want to, do the whole interrogation thing, game on. Let's go. We should have done this 3 years ago. For everybody, too. So, don't do your job. No, please sit back. But she talks about anchor points. This would be hard unless you're viewing their whole body. But their foot, or their elbows if they're crossed, or what's going on with that. I think because she had to sum it up so quickly, I'd rather just give you another nonverbal tape. But anchor points were something that she pointed out as someone trying to ground themselves. Okay, some stuff to think